All right, this week we were given the chance to take a sneak peek in a 24-hour drive of the GMC Yukon Denali. This model is all new for the 2021 model year, and we're among the first people who are having a chance to check this out. So let's get started right now. I'm Jill Ciminillo. I'm the new managing editor at Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and if you've been on the website, you've probably seen some of the stuff that I've written. But today, I'm going to take you through some of my favorite things and some of my not so favorite things on the Yukon Denali. But first, let me walk you through some fast facts. So first, what I find very interesting is they've added a lot of content to the Yukon for the 2021 model year, but they haven't really raised the price. So if you look at the base SLE trim, this is only a $100 increase over the previous generation. If you want to go all in for the Denali, that's only a $700 price increase. I think that's pretty cool. So the base price is going to be $51,995. If you want to level up to the Denali with the four-wheel drive system, it's going to be $72,695. Now, the vehicle we are driving this week is the Denali version with the four-wheel drive system, but it also adds the super duper Denali package. And no, it's not actually called the super duper Denali package, but I'm just calling that because it adds a lot of stuff. What it's really called is the Denali Ultimate Package, and it's about $11,000. So the as-tested price of this vehicle right here is $83,720. Now, because this is a Denali version, this comes with the up-level 6.2-liter V8 engine, and that means it will deliver 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. Now, the base engine is the 5.3-liter V8 engine, and that is standard on every other trim, and that delivers 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. Now, because I know you guys have a thing about checking for the dipstick and how you change the oil, I figured I would show you there is really no way that I am reaching that. I mean, maybe if I climbed up this way, I could get there, but otherwise it ain't happening. Now that I've given you a quick overview of the pricing and the engine specs as well as the dipstick, let's take a quick look at what I liked and what I didn't like. Now, one of the biggest things that I love about this GMC Yukon Denali is that 6.2-liter V8 engine. The power is really quiet, really seamless, and pretty fast. Exactly when you need it. All right, one of the things that I love about the Yukon Denali is all of the cool tech features that are available on this vehicle. So the first thing is the gigantic head-up display that shows all different kinds of information, and I was particularly intrigued by the fact that it tells you how many seconds away you are from the vehicle in front of you. So when they say you should be 2 seconds away from the vehicle in front of you, it'll tell you if you are in fact 2 seconds away. Have to admit, more often than not, I was probably about 1 second or less away from the vehicle in front of me, and it was a really good gauge to see, oh, that's not actually 2 seconds. So I thought that was really interesting and helpful, and helped me get a little bit more space so that I don't get into any kind of a fender bender or accident, and, you know, follow the rules. All right, so another really cool tech feature is going to be this space right here. This is a sliding console, and as you can see, when it's in the far back position, you have plenty of space to put a purse, a bag, a briefcase, take out a grocery bag, something right here. But if you don't need the space, you can press, there's like a handy little button right here. And you can slide it all the way forward. So armrest here, or again, move it back and you can put a bag. I think that's pretty interesting and neat and a nice little feature. I also really like the wireless environment. If you saw my Honda HR-V review, one of my big complaints was the fact that I had wireless charging, but I didn't have wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So on this vehicle, you've got the wireless charging as well as the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. All right, final cool feature that I really appreciate on the 2021 Yukon Denali is the panoramic roof. You can open it up so that you have a nice clear view of the sky, and then you can even get some fresh air. And I have to say, I really appreciate the fact that it's all one touch. Under the cool feature heading, one final thing I'd like to point out is the fact that there are USB-C charge ports all the way back here in the third row. So in addition to some really decent legroom, you have the ability to charge your devices back here. Now, another thing I really like about the Yukon Denali is the sheer amount of space that is here. So, I mean, obviously this is behind my driving position, but plenty of room to kick back and relax. If you needed more room in the third row, you can move the seat forward to create extra space for rear seat passengers. Now, when talking about the large amount of space that is available on the GMC Yukon, you can't not look at the cargo space. GMC has said they've increased cargo volume back here by about 66%, and that's a lot of space. So what does that actually mean? It means I can fit back here pretty well. And you could probably fit a couple of roller boards, but I don't know that you would be able to fit roller boards for 6 people, 7 people. But you know, maybe stacked or a couple this way. But at any rate, increased by 66%. So that's a pretty decent amount of space. The other thing to note, since I'm back here, and this probably falls more under the cool feature category, but you have the power up and down for the rear seats. And I have stuff in the back seat, so they're probably not going to go all the way down. There we go. But then you can also release the second row seats as well, which is really kind of cool. And if you want to put these back up, this mechanical operation is also available from the driver's seat on the upper area of the console. All right, so as much as I like the power down for the second row seats here, that does require some manual labor to put them back in place. And they're not super heavy, but they're a little bit heavy, but probably manageable for somebody on the small side of things. The Yukon Denali will have exclusive interiors, so they'll be different than the rest of the trims available in the Yukon lineup. And I have to say, this interior is really well done. I love the stitching and the wood trim, especially. Now, the final thing I'd like to point out that's worth loving on the GMC Yukon Denali is this button right here. If you're not familiar, this is the auto stop start button, and thankfully GMC allows you to turn it off. So that is the last thing that I absolutely love about the GMC Yukon Denali. Thank you for that auto stop start off button. All right, this is literally the first time I'm trying to park in my garage, so let's see how it goes. This could be a good thing, bad thing, depending on whether or not it fits. This is a big sucker. Maybe about as far as I can go. Let's see how it did. Do we think it's going to fit? I might be able to take it back a couple more inches. All right, I'm going to try. I might be able to take it back a couple more inches. Nope, you're good. Do you think? Let me take it back just a little bit more. No? All right. Let's see. Let's the true test. I will try and take the garage door down and hope it doesn't lop off the front of the vehicle. It literally had about this much. So, I was saying it could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on if it fit in my garage. I figured it was going to be a bad thing because I absolutely did not think it was going to fit. So, here we go. The GMC Yukon actually fits in my garage, so I'm going to say that is a good thing. Now, the downside to the excellent powertrain with the 6.2 liter V8 engine is going to be fuel economy. And while EPA estimates that you should get 14 miles per gallon in the city and 19 miles per gallon on the highway, in mostly highway driving, I've been averaging about 13.2 miles per gallon. So one of the things that I don't like about the Yukon has to be the driving position. As you can see, I'm pretty much eye level with this big dash right here, and it causes a little bit of a visibility issue, especially when I'm getting ready to round a corner and I need to check out the crosswalk to make sure that nobody is in it. And I've often found myself leaning forward, leaning backward, and looking all around to make sure that the coast is clear. There are also a lot of narrow city streets in Chicago, and it has me driving a lot slower than what I would normally drive, just to make sure that I don't clip the sides of the vehicle on parked cars. Interesting. Okay. There is a place to put a bottle down here, but it's really not terribly convenient for somebody in my driving position. So something else I wasn't going to say I didn't love, but I don't really love that either. All right, so another thing that I'd like to point out that I don't particularly love about this is, while I love the interior finishes and I think that they did a great job with a lot of the materials, some of the bits, feel a little bit cheap to me. And when I'm spending $83,000, I want it to be a little bit more solid feeling for some of these points. So I didn't particularly love that. It doesn't feel like an $83,000 vehicle. Now, another thing I'd like to point out is the largeness of the side mirror. While it's really good for checking your blind spots on the highway, when you are driving in an urban environment, the side mirror can be a little bit unwieldy, especially when you are at a four-way stop and you are trying to see if there are any pedestrians in the crosswalk. I often found myself looking up and looking down and then kind of going like this so that I could verify that before I pulled into the intersection, I wasn't going to hit anybody. Now, another thing that I don't particularly love about the GMC Yukon Denali is the rear camera mirror. And this is 100% personal preference, but I just like the idea of having this show up so that you can get a very, very clear view of the rear of the vehicle. But in actuality, I don't know if you can really tell, but it looks a little bit blurry to me, and it's a bit disorienting when you're driving. So I still prefer the plain rear view mirror, which obviously you can't see anything right now, but I prefer the rear view mirror to the rear camera mirror just because of the clarity of the image that you will see. So I don't know, it's very disorienting and it looks a little bit weird. However, if you have a whole bunch of people or things in the back, I can see how something like this would make sense. I just don't particularly like it. All right, thank you for taking this first drive with me in the 2021 GMC Yukon Denali. And I hope that you got a good sense of some of the good things and some of the bad things about this all-new vehicle. I'd like to know what you like about it and maybe what you don't like. So please feel free to comment below and let me know. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe.